What's going on, team? How we doing? I'm ready to get into, of course, stock market movers. We got a lot to talk about. Did Microsoft break the January effect? We'll talk all about that. We'll get into those earnings. We'll take a look. Right now, we are getting a bounce back, opening kind of hit down there, especially in the pre-market. Let's talk all about that. And of course, I got my analyst today excited to have on for the first time, Linda Bolton Weiser, Managing Director of D.A. Davidson. We're going to talk all about toy stocks. We'll get into some beauty stocks, and we'll even touch a little bit of Planet Fitness. Stick around. We got a lot to talk about today. And of course, we'll get into some of those earnings reports. If something caught your attention, throw it up in the chat. Let's get right towards the action. You guys know where you're at, stock market movers. Let's get to the show. There are 3 ways to make a living in this business. Be first, be smarter, or cheat. I can't help you cheat, but I can give you the informational edge to help you succeed in the markets. Welcome to Stock Market Movers. All the market moving headlines and expert opinions every day. They say money is the oxygen of capitalism, and I want to breathe more than any man alive. What's going on, team? Let's get into the action. Definitely smash the like button if you guys are ready to get into the stocks. Let's take a look how the market's performing right now. You guys can see we made a move up there to 398. Could not get through that right now. We'll see if we start coming right back down. What I would be looking at is, of course, some hourly levels to see if we're going to recover the support from the prior action, right? To me, that's going to be right around here, right? And so you can see how we wicked here on Tuesday to 397.64. On Monday's low, 397.62. We'll look to see if we get above 398. Very important level. If not, this is the level that I think we could reject off of for the SPY. We'll look to see if we come right back down. Of course, you guys see how my RSI is really big because I wanted to show something here on the daily level is that essentially we didn't even get to overbought. That's something to notice, right? I think it's important to notice, last time we did get to overbought when we were kind of peaking up there towards 430s, then came all the way back down, right? Well, we'll see right now. Will we get right back up there, or will we start rejecting right now if we close red and start seeing this turnaround in the RSI? That's some good news for the bears, bad news for the bulls, something to keep a watch out. Of course, we'll see what happens there. A lot to talk about on the tape today. Of course, everything all about Microsoft, right? That's what was going to determine. Well, look how Microsoft is starting to try to climb the wall of worry here. If we take a look at the price action from the 24th, support is right around that 241.17. Maybe you're bringing it down and just rounding it off to 241. That's right around here. That's 241.01. We went back towards what? 240.95. Feel like that 241 is starting to act as resistance. We'll see if we get back through that level. You can also see it in the afternight action where you got this high here towards 242 and the closing is towards 240.96, right around there. If we can get it back above 241, Microsoft could keep climbing the wall of worry. But of course, what did we see? And I think the more important question that we need to start asking ourselves is, of course, is the slowdown in tech coming and what impacts that's going to have on the markets, right? We can take a look. Let's go to our major names. Google down today. Let's go to Apple. Apple, let me take off my lines at least so you guys don't see my lines. And you guys can see here rejecting back to try to get back above 141, actually even lower than that. You can see we can't really close back above the 140.75. We'll see if this comes right back down. Of course, a little bit of choppy action out there. It's not just a straight down move. There are some bounces, but I think we need to keep worrying about what's going to come in these tech earnings, right? When it comes to Amazon, right? What will Amazon give us? Will it take a big hit? Of course, bigger earnings are coming. Tesla going to be reporting tonight. That's going to be something that we definitely need to talk about. Will Tesla get back above the 150s, or will it be right back down there towards the 123 area? We'll have to wait and find out. Seems the expected move on Tesla is closer towards 13 points. We'll find out, right? What will this do? Will it get the nice little uplift, down move? I don't know. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to be betting on Tesla, but I'm also getting to the point where I'm realizing the tech names are letting us know exactly what's coming down the line. Yet it seems like everyone out on Wall Street is like, no, this is not what's coming right now. No, the truth is that revenues are coming down. Earnings are coming down, right? We talked about this. Would the earnings revisions start taking bigger and bigger hits? I think as we get through this earnings, we'll find out really what these companies are looking towards in 23. And if it's going to be such a negative outlook for the second half of 23, well, that's not good here for the overall outlook that stocks will start coming back, right? I think a lot of people are jumping into January effect, hoping that those bottoms are going to hold. Now the question is, will they hold? Something that we need to keep watch also is how Microsoft keeps pushing, right? What were their areas of weakness? Their area of weakness was really in kind of the software subscription game, in identity, security services, business-oriented Windows products. We'll see how that keeps moving along. Getting back to Microsoft, of course, this is going to make a big change in the market. And you guys can see, what did we do? We rejected hard off that 400 level. Do we even get back up there? I think that's something that you need to start questioning because, yeah, we could get up there right back. But if we start getting down here towards, let's say, the 387 level, start breaking this support, that's where definitely you're going to see the bulls take back control and start knocking it back towards the 380s. We'll see what happens. Do we finally break out of this channel, or is this just another fake out to the upside and we start heading right back down? All right, catching up with the chats. Looks like you guys are starting to join. The Bears are in denial, says Paul Texera. Well, Paul, you're going to have to need more than 2 of those champagne flutes for me, bud, if you think that the bull market's back. But hey, to each his own, right? That's why the market's all about 2 sides of the coin, not necessarily one side. But we'll have to wait and see. Looks like we got some others traders joining us. Easy Mike, Jay, Sabrina in the chat. How we doing out there? Crow, Carmen, Andy Y, Beach Bum. It's good to see you guys in the chat. Say hello. And Paul, hello to you too, my friend. It's all good. It's okay to feel bullish. I got no problem with you feeling like this is a bull market. I'll just go and show what I see, right? That's what it's all about, right? There's always 2 sides. Just like I never get mad at shorts that are going against me. I'm never going to get mad at longs that are going against me if I'm short a position. The only thing we can do is focus on what the price action is telling us. And definitely price action is telling us some big resistance here at 400. And also what that shows me, selling. That shows me selling and how we keep wicking up here. What does that mean? Bigger institutionals selling out of their probably January effect positions and taking the gains and running. Can you blame them? They probably made some decent money to the upside. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other stocks. Let's go to Boeing really quickly. Let's take a look at how that's performing on the intraday. You guys can go to the 15 minutes, see how it's bouncing back. Of course, Boeing's numbers coming in this morning. Let's give them here. Boeing came in with a core EPS at a loss of $1.75, missing the 26-cent estimate. Sales of $19.98 billion, missed the $20.38 billion estimate. But they started talking about their production rate for the 737s. They reaffirmed 23 guidance. They delivered 152 commercial planes and recorded 376 net orders in Q4. So we'll see what happens there in Boeing. Can it continue right back up through the high? I'm actually looking for a deeper pullback, but levels this morning given by Joel Elconin near that 205 level, really interesting area. Came back through it. went to about 203.11. So you would have had that been a little bit wide on there, but not too bad, about less than a 1% risk here. And you're already making a move back up there. It's a nice little 3% gain on the upside if you got it there. We're back to 210. We'll look to see if we get back there to 214 and keep climbing the wall on Boeing. Boeing has been pretty strong, really, since October. I mean, since October, this stock is up about 72%. We'll see what happens there in Boeing. All right, let's keep going. In a second, we'll be getting into our interview here. Shortly going to talk about some toys. We'll get into a little bit of some Planet Fitness and, of course, some beauty stocks out there. Let's take a look at one more that definitely caught my eyes today, which was Capital One Financial, that COF team. You guys can take a look at it. Look at that big move today. It definitely broke out to the upside. And really, there was a part here on the earnings that I thought were interesting. You can see Capital One Financial's Q4 sales miss the estimate only by 0.2. But then the Q4 provision for credit loss increasing from $747 million to $2.4 billion. That shows us that they're getting ready just in case there could be some delinquencies there. But continuing the move today, credit services have not been doing bad as of late. Getting a nice little lift here. We'll keep watch on the names that I've been watching too, like Visa and MasterCard, to see if they can keep moving. But definitely COF, Capital One Financial, getting a nice little uplift there. And for that being said, let's take a look at American Express. You guys can see how this is setting up also for a nice little move back above the highs here, especially recent highs. We're going into right around this 156 level. That will be interesting if we can start closing above AXP. Doesn't look too bad there, American Express. All right, we'll see what happens there with Capital One Financial and American Express. In a few minutes, we'll get into our interview. Let's keep rolling. Let's get towards one more stock. Let's see if we can get one in here. Let's do AT&T, because that was definitely doing well. Of course, this one has that New York Stock Exchange kind of wick handle, so I'm not going to focus too much on the technical levels, but you guys can see here on the hourly, getting the nice little lift. AT&T here, Q4 adjusted EPS at 61 cents, beat the 57-cent estimate. Sales at 31.3 billion, missed the 31.39 billion estimate. AT&T Q4 postpaid phone net adds 656,000. Domestic wireless service revenues were up 5.2%. They did have a 25 billion goodwill impairment charge, but like Joel tried to tell me this morning, well, I mean, they got ahead of it. They put the goodwill impairment charge on this report. Means that it won't be on the next one, right? Operating income loss was down towards a loss of 21.09 billion from 4.89 billion a year ago. We'll see what happens there in AT&T. Definitely getting the lift there. Let's see if it affected Verizon. Verizon got some lift, didn't continue there. And what about T-Mobile? T-Mobile continuing, that not looking too bad, starting to push up there towards 148. We'll see if we can get back there towards the 150 area and start to push. I do like this chart overall. Looks like T-Mobile wants to stay strong. Looks like it wants to come right back up there towards the 150 area. And of course, it's a leader. It's really been leading. And I mean, when you think about it, it's trying to come after Verizon, right? Definitely a battle out there with the ads. Look to see if we can get back through that 150. Going to be very vital. If we can get through that 150, maybe we can start getting back through. Of course, this was back in 21, July 16th week. We had a high there of 150.20. Let's see if we can get back into that area and start to push there for T-Mobile. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's keep pushing. We're going to get into one more stock here. I'll do Eviance Health. Definitely one that I've been keeping a close eye. ELV was really looking for the bottoming action to kind of hold on here. That's that 480 area. So we'll look to see if we can get back into the 500 area today, pulling back there to 490s. Wanted to see about this one because we have been seeing how UNH and Humana have been falling off the tape here. UNH pulling back there, starting to come back. Humana, let's take a look there. Not having a bad day. Really had a nice earlier drive. We'll look to see if this one can make a drive towards the close, especially these healthcare plans that have recently gotten hit. Cigna kind of led that action a lot. You can see it on that downturn recently. Can we just get right back, right? And can Cigna kind of hold the long-term trend line here, right? Long-term trend line does not look too bad there for Cigna. We'll look to see if that holds. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into our interview in just a few minutes. What I'm going to do is play a little Benzinga Pro trailer, and we'll be right back.
Introducing Portfolio Synchronization with your brokerage. Now you can securely connect your brokerage account to Benzinga Pro, opening a world of personalization. Screen lightning-fast news just for the stocks you own. Set alerts for news catalysts that affect only the companies you care about. It's all possible with a simple click and a secure, protected connection. Overcome uncertainty and connect your portfolio to Benzinga Pro today.
All right, team, let's go ahead. Let's bring on Linda Weiser, Managing Director at D.A. Davidson here. Excited to get into our interview. We got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and bring Linda on. How are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
It's good to have you on. Excited to have you for the first time. And we're going to talk some toys. Of course, we just went through the holiday season. And I don't know if you're like me, but I still love the holiday season. You can't go wrong with holiday season. We get some uplift, some optimism. And of course, the kids get their toys. Well, what happened this recent holiday period? How did you see it go with sales?
Well, we had an interesting holiday season because if you recall, last year we had some supply chain disruptions and toys were in very short supply. So this year you had the opposite. You had retailers that had stocked up after that shortage last year. So they really stocked up earlier in 2022. And by the time you hit like the summer, the retail inventories were actually pretty high of toys. And so most of the toy companies, when they kind of reported their third quarter results, brought down the expectations for the full year and for the fourth quarter. And so we are looking at inventory reduction by retailers here, maybe even continuing a little bit into the first part of 2023. And for really the toy companies pretty broadly, I'm expecting down revenue and earnings in the first half of 2023.
Now, of course, I know that you guys like to make your kind of channel checks and kind of look into the stores to see what's going on. I love to do it too. I call it the boots on the ground, right? We need to go ahead and see if the numbers are matching what we're seeing in person. What did you guys see in the stores right now with kind of inventory?
Yeah, absolutely. And here at Davidson, for many years, we've done a proprietary toy survey every year around Christmas. We start in October and then we go through January. It's a four-part published series. And what we do is we look at pricing and availability of key hot toys on different retailers' hot toy lists. So predominantly we focus on Walmart, Target, and Amazon. But, you know, other retailers, since Toys R Us went bankrupt, other retailers are starting to become more prominent, like Macy's and Kohl's even. But really, it's looking mostly Target, Walmart, Amazon. And what we found this year was definitely a different situation. The shelves last year were completely empty. I've never seen anything like it last year when we had shortages. This year, there were some pockets of emptiness on the shelves, but not as widespread as last year. And when we looked at individual hot toys that were no longer available in early January, there were very few toys that were not available at all. Whereas last year, long list of toys that were really not available. So just the opposite of last year. But, you know, we find, as we do every year, that those evergreen brands that kids will like year after year after year appear to have done the best. So when you look at the shelves of Barbie and Hot Wheels, those types of brands, the shelves did look pretty empty, at least the anecdotal checks that we did at Target and Walmart.
Excellent. Let's go a little bit more company specific here. Let's chat a little bit about Hasbro. Of course, a recent decision really affecting them to increase the number of cards in circulation for Magic, the Gathering card game. Do you view this as negatively for the company?
Well, sure. I mean, Hasbro has really changed as a company over the years. So they bought E1, so they have an entertainment division, and then they have Wizards and digital gaming, which is a whole separate segment. So today, Hasbro has 60% of revenue still in toys, but only 40% of profit, of EBITDA. So it really is a Wizards and digital gaming type of thing. It's 50% of their profit. And so it's very, very important. And so we've heard a little bit of negative scuttlebutt, sort of, I guess you would say, on the chat boards with regard to Magic, and then now with Dungeons and Dragons, they kind of did something with the open license there. So we are watching these things on a long-term basis, and we do think they're important on a longer-term basis. But we do think that there will still be very strong growth for their Wizards and digital gaming business going forward. And so we have growth projections for that division, although growth this year is projected to be lower than sort of during the pandemic. That division for them grew very rapidly.
Excellent. Now let's get a little bit into Mattel. It looks like they're getting back into the Disney Princess doll. Can that give the stock a little bit of a lift?
Yeah, absolutely. It was so surprising when Mattel even lost that license, because Mattel is so dominant in fashion dolls. And Mattel, unlike the other toy companies, has their own manufacturing plants in Asia that manufacture fashion dolls. And this is one of their highest margin type of products that they can make. And so we think that this will just really benefit Mattel in terms of adding to the volume production of fashion dolls they do each year. And we think they're going to do a great job with the dolls. I think within the industry, when Hasbro did the dolls, there was some criticism over the quality of the dolls, that they just didn't look as good. The facial features were not as distinct. So we think this is going to be really a wonderful growth opportunity for them to build that business and take it back in-house. And it should be a growth driver for Mattel over the next few years, certainly.
And one more company that I definitely want to touch, and you can see it in the chat, a couple of people mentioning it, Funko, of course. And Funko landed an investment with eBay and has signed an exclusive partnership with them. Why is this important for the future growth? And have you noticed any early trends from this partnership?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of months ago, eBay and Bob Iger and a consortium of investors took a 25% stake in the company. They bought the stake from a private equity firm, Acon. Of course, then we had a little bit of earnings disaster here with Funko. So the stock is now 11. It has recovered, though, from its bottom. So it's far below where they took their investment at $21 a share. And yeah, we have so far the members of the consortium that have been on the board of directors have been noted to be very active members of the board. They will certainly be making their stamp, I think, on the strategy of the company. In particular, one of the things that we would like Funko to do, and we've always been hoping for, is for Funko to have more of its own IP. So Funko has many, many licenses and markets figures and wallets and backpacks based on others' IP. But we think it will be a great valuation enhancement to the company, to the stock, if they can start developing their own IP and products around that. And they've started that with some toys and games that they've come up with. But really, I think that's something that the expertise of this consortium can lend to Funko.
Yeah, definitely in a high inflation time right now, when there's kind of that limited consumer spending that's going on. What do you think that Funko could do to really kind of be affordable and repeatable purchase? I think you hit it right on the knob already. If they could do and go away from kind of those other IPs, make their own, maybe that can help them in their margins to get more of a repeatable purchase. So
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. So one thing also with Funko, of course, is the digital side, right? And kind of the NFT side. What do you think about this space in that sense right now? Of course, it's been taking a step back. but could we just also kind of find different projects developing out of the digital side?
Yeah, absolutely. Funko has been, sort of, leading the charge, so to speak, in the NFT realm. And so they have a burgeoning effort going there. And it's not yet big enough for them to disclose the revenue stream from that yet. But it is something that they're uniquely positioned just because of the access to the IP that they have. And really some of the other toy companies, Mattel especially, has been sort of getting involved in that area too. It's obviously very applicable in types of product lines where collectors have played a big role in the past.
All right, let's transition over. Of course, there was a recent short report on Planet Fitness from the Bear Cave. And on January 19th, you reiterated the buy for Planet Fitness with a price target of 99. Why the buy rating?
Yeah, we actually initiated coverage on Planet Fitness kind of right during the pandemic, right at the kind of bottom when it was looking dreary for a gym franchisor. But we've stuck with it. We think it's a great franchise business model. They're still talking about sort of a mid-teens growth rate that we agree they can hit over the coming years. So still very rapid growth, strong kind of high single digit same store sales growth. In terms of the short report, some of the short report was picking away at the fact that Planet Fitness somehow makes it hard for members to cancel their memberships. And certainly that's not true. They have actually within the franchising industry, and they have one of the most highly regarded sort of policies with regard to membership cancellation. And they are they have online cancellation available in many states, and they are currently testing it in all their corporate gyms and in several other locations. And they actually think that by the end of this year, that online cancellation will be available in all states. So it certainly hasn't been something where they're making a policy that makes it hard to cancel. And during the pandemic, they did experience many canceled memberships. And certainly people were able to cancel during the pandemic when everything was closed. So how did they do that if they were preventing this? So that was really the key negative. And I really don't think that the person who wrote the short report was keyed in on some of the positive fundamentals, including the fact that cash flow has now risen back to the pre-pandemic level and they've resumed their large share repurchases. I think that's an important fundamental positive.
All right, let's get into some of the beauty stocks. Of course, save the beauty for last. Well, usually it's beauty first, but save the beauty for last this time. Let's get into the industry. There's a lot of companies in here that I've been looking at. You cover stocks like ELF and Skin. So this seems like the tale of two different tapes here. Tell us what's going on here and what we can look for moving forward.
Sure. Well, generally speaking, the beauty space has been very, very robust, and especially the fragrance area has been really just booming. And during the pandemic, consumers discovered more experimentation and really discovered the benefits of fragrance as a mood lifter. And so that idea of experimentation and wanting to try different things has really continued post-pandemic. And so Coty and Interparfum are two stocks that are benefiting from that. And ELF Beauty has just been gangbusters, and ELF Beauty was up over 50%, even though the market was so rocky in 2022. And ELF is a predominantly color cosmetics stock company. And so as the world reopens and we take our masks off, the whole category has reignited, and their market share gains have continued very strongly. So it's a matter of very strong category growth and market share gains by ELF. ELF is now the number 5 mass color company in the US, but they want to be number 1. So they want to overtake people like Revlon, who, Revlon has gone through like a bankruptcy. So they feel there's opportunity to get even bigger. And then Skin, beauty health company, is a stock of high interest among investors. It's a great story. It's a hydrofacial machine, and consumers can go to a spa or they can go to Sephora or Ulta and get a hydrofacial, and it's only costs about $100 to $150 or so, whereas other types of skin treatments can run you in the thousands. So it's a very affordable luxury. It's non-invasive, and just there's a whole community out there of fans of the hydrofacial. And Beauty Health Company has actually come through with all their projections since they were a SPAC, and they de-SPACed successfully, and all of their numbers have been exceeded from the numbers they put out before they de-SPACed. And yet they're just getting this really bad, kind of, people are just shorting SPACs, without knowing the fundamentals. But this company is doing terrific, and we're talking about revenue growth in excess of 20%, and EBITDA growth in the next few years even higher than that. So it's a great growth company, and we're pounding the table on skin.
Something to keep watching. Now, can we expect maybe an update on ELF as we are past your price target, it seems like? Anything that we can be expecting in the future?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's hard to keep up when a stock is on a skyrocket. So I think our price target's 54, and I'm seeing the stock being around 55. So yeah, but our price target is under review until when they report the quarter, and they will report in just a few weeks. So knock on wood, we'll get a good quarter, and we'll review things at that point.
Well, thank you for coming on. We'll definitely have you back then, and we'll have you back to talk a little bit about what's going on in the beauty segment. It's definitely been a segment that for a lot of investors that were looking for opportunity probably might have missed out on something that was right there, present, right underneath. And I think that even stocks like this, I look at ELF, like Ulta Beauty, these are some of the best run companies right now. So if you haven't thought about beauty stocks before, maybe you think about them today. Appreciate you coming on today, Linda. We'll have you back on.
Thanks for having us.
All right. That's going to do it for our interview today. I hope that you guys enjoyed talking all different segments there, from the toys. We went into a little bit of Planet Fitness, and of course, ending off on those beauty stocks. We'll definitely have Linda back. And I do think that there's some potential value there. And for her mention on skins, as me being the guy that did SPAC's attack, I'm going to look a little deeper into there, see what we can find in skins. We'll do a little deep dive. All right, let's get out of that action. Let's go back to the stock market. Let's see what's going on right now. SPY at 398.65. As we can take a look, we're still bouncing. So at least from about 11 a.m., we've been having a nice little hard bounce back here. And it just goes to show you, right? Looks like Microsoft probably still climbing that wall of worry. You guys can see it right now, trying to get back into that 241. We talked about how that's going to be an important level as you get back into yesterday's kind of low levels. Can you recover those and get back there close to the close, right? Closing price 242.07. Let's see. Microsoft climbing that wall of worry as it's working its way back. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other stocks and, of course, what was hot and what was not today. Let's go take a look at the sectors and the industries that were moving to the upside. All right, you guys can see here, basic materials taking a nice little leap to the upside. Gold leading the way and silver leading the way. I hope that somebody got some of that silver trade today because it definitely took off there. FSM, SVM, PAAS, not looking too bad there. AG with a nice little lift there from the 822s, starting to bounce back. And we'll see if we're able to make our way back because this was up higher. This was up there towards 950s. We'll look to see if we can actually keep running on silver. Of course, overall, silver has been keeping this kind of trend. And so I'm going to keep watch to see what happens there. You can also keep watch SLV, right? The silver iShares Silver Trust ETF. This one doesn't look too bad. A lot of resistance above. We'll look to see if we come towards 2250s. Gold also having a good day today. You guys can see GOLD continuing on the uptrend. We'll see what happens there in gold. I also like AU. This one has been strong, has been making its way all the way back from down below 14 up there towards a high there of 23.36. That's why I like AU. It has a tendency of trending. The only thing with this one is that when it breaks, it also breaks strong. You guys see me, I played this one on this move. Didn't play it throughout this whole thing, but something to keep watch, right? We'll see what happens there on AU and some of these gold plays. Basic materials, lumber's been strong. WFG team. I want to point this out. I've been talking about it. I talked about it on At the Close yesterday. It seems like this has relative strength. Look at the takeoff now, about 12%. WFG getting some push. West Fraser Timber. Are we going to have another run in wood prices? Ooh, would not want to lift there. I don't know too much about wood production companies, but definitely that one stands out to me. And we'll look to see if any of these other ones start making a move. BCC, maybe making a little bit of a push. It's held 70, just pushed off 70 today. Good level to go off of there. We'll see what happens. Steel, where's the steel plays? Steel Dynamics bouncing back there. X bouncing back towards the upside. Nucor bouncing back. So it looks like steel getting the lift. We'll see what happens there. Copper, FCX. I know that one had earnings also. We'll see what happens there. Freeport getting the lift there towards 45. Doesn't look too bad at all to take a look at some of these kind of copper plays. Another one, of course, SCCO. We've been talking about SCCO since $50. It's 75 and continuing the trend. What a move there in copper lately. And this one was the kind of one that was given by analysts for a while that we were going to see a spike in copper. Was it going to be that type of spike? Oof. Definitely would have wished I would have caught some of that play. Big move there, SCCO. Catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? How we doing? Jim Cruz, Sabrina, Jay Rice out there. Let's talk about some of the stocks that you guys are finding moving. I see Boeing talked about out there. Tomorrow GDP. Yes, tomorrow GDP. And then the 27th, we also get PCE, right? Slot on the tape to still move the stock market. We'll just have to wait and find out. Still holding SCCO like Vail, says EKS. Well, hey, take it to the bank. Can't go wrong with those two names. Definitely getting a nice little push. Let's look at Vail. I haven't seen Vail in a while. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful move there, man. Continuing. Let's go towards the monthlies and weeklies and look how this is starting to come back there. Trying to get back there towards the 22. We'll see what happens there in VALE. Definitely holding strong there. Golden Brown, what's going on, man? How we doing? Jay says Boeing, COF, easy. Why price matters. If you just read the reports this AM, you would have never been in them, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it just goes to show you sometimes earnings reports are not everything, right? And just because it says something on the earnings report doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, those are the stocks that you should be shorting. Those are the stocks that you should be longing. Unfortunately, it's like that, team. It's never just one way in the market. It's never like if we're going to miss, we have to short the company. There's always something else. And then I think one of the things that traders often forget is what's in the forefront. What is in the focus right now from the investors? Look at Hit the Bid, hitthebid.com, my man out there. What's up? How we doing out there? All right. One of the things that I always look at, of course, is when these stocks kind of climb back, are they going to take the hit the next day, though? I think that's an important thing. So like a stock like GE yesterday had earnings, and they weren't the best. They weren't the best on General Electric. And I thought that maybe this could turn around, right? Well, you guys see it. It's right back to the highs almost. That just goes to show me you don't always just want to run into it and also fight the price action if the price action is telling you up, but the earnings are telling you down. All right, let's keep going. It's good to see you hit the bid. Good to have you in here. Even Goldman Sachs went green, right? Perfect example. Comes down right back towards the support, holds it, now starting to make its way back. Let's see Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley actually still holding this gap. That's actually a pretty good sign. I think eventually if we could get a nice little run back up with these kind of names like the financials, this could get that next lift. It is holding in there. That's interesting to see there. It hasn't just filled the gap on the downside. Let's see how JPM is setting up there, at least since we're looking at these banks. You can see this is climbing the wall of worry right back up there, right? It was down there towards 135, right back into the 138. Eventually, it could be right through the 140. Let's take a look at a laggard like Bank of America. And why is it a laggard? Because just look at the recent price action. Nowhere near as strong as JP Morgan, but starting to make its way back. Look at the moving averages, all near each other. We really have gone sideways long enough for the 200 moving averages to come back down. That's a good level to start kind of basing on, right? We need to start seeing if these 200, since we're finally getting all that sideways action, do we start seeing the 200 start rounding and showing a positive move? That's something definitely to catch, because that's going to be when you're really starting to see stocks starting to hold the 200 as support. In this case, Bank of America is still the 200-day moving average is going down, but I have seen some stocks where that 200-day is starting to even trickle to the upside. All right, let's keep going. Chat's been on point. You guys can always call out stocks. That's what it's about. You guys are here just with me, trying to find out where the moves are on stock market movers. All right, let's keep going. Let's get back towards the action. Let's take a look here. Communication services, the second leading sector to the upside. Of course, a lot of that based on T-Mobile. Not T-Mobile, AT&T. Whenever I see T, I don't know why I think T-Mobile, but T-Mobile's TMUS. But AT&T getting the lift today, continuing. We talked about T-Mobile and how that stayed strong. We'll see what happens there. And then from there, consumer cyclical, right? The high beta names. Let's see what happened there today. Looks like you got leisure names doing well right now. Booking, since their upgrade, has been doing really well. That's been trying to take a nice little step to the upside. EXPE, Expedia, also taking a nice little uplift as of late. Let's go to the Carnival Cruise Line as they caught the bid right back up there today. We'll see if this can keep pushing. Leisure, not having a bad time right now. Let's go to some of the high cap names here in leisure. I also saw like names like even like Playboy is up right now. That's it bouncing back there. We'll see what happens in some of these leisure names. That was kind of one of the leaders. Booking, of course, one of the leaders. Carnival getting a little bit of a lift. Expedia, Royal Caribbean, Pool. Pool is something that definitely got a nice little push. Not really something that I play often. I know that Jason Radsnick likes this one. I'm going to have to ask him what he thinks about Pool. Hasbro, we just talked about it, right? Will this come right back up there towards the highs, 66, or will this have sideways action? And a little part of me thinks it has sideways action. Not expecting the strongest earnings report, right? We just heard from Toys Experts. Doesn't sound like it was the best report coming up. All right, let's keep going. We're going to keep pushing. Anyone look at XL Fleet? I know that one, Carmen. That's is that just straight XL? What's the ticker for that one, XL Fleet? I remember that one. Let me know, Carmen. I think it's XL, right? That one's definitely a long-term hold. I agree. It's hard to do so. Yeah, XL Fleet. I mean, there's a lot of these EV names that I like Hyliion. I really do, the team, and it's made a nice little uplift, right? I've driven the truck. I've driven the semi truck, right? Maybe that pulls me a little bit more, but I think in the long run, there is going to be some lift to EV. The question is, how long will it take, right? I think we really need to kind of keep watch what happens in the late part of 23. Not the early part, because the early part isn't going to be, I think, the driver of EV. What we're really going to need is kind of more the battle going into next year. Of course, next year we'll start going into and starting to talk about presidential elections. And with that, I think you start seeing more and more EV lift in the long run. We'll see what happens there. Hyliion trying to make a move. XL left. XL, right? XL's the ticker, right? I don't know. I don't have it no more. I think it disappeared maybe. All right, we'll see what else is going on. The market doesn't know what the hell it wants to do. Yeah, market doesn't know what it wants to do. I'm pretty sure that we might run into some resistance, but you can see we're just climbing and climbing the wall of worry. This is what happens when institutional action takes over into the market. And it seems like we're having these moves often, where we're just getting up and down moves that are just wicked. To me, this shows me more and more institutional selling near the top, because it's the only way you knock it down there, buy the dip, buy them right back. They're able to still make money in between here, especially with that high volatility. We'll see if we eventually get back through 400, but Microsoft continuing to climb the wall of worry now through that 241. back up there to 241.35. Should it be back here? That doesn't matter. That's the best part. Doesn't matter if this is the logical move or illogical move. We'll see what happens there. If Microsoft gets back towards 245, it's almost towards the open of yesterday or the close of yesterday. SPRU. Ooh. Spruce Power. That's what they changed their name to. That's why I can't find them. I was looking for XL, but couldn't find them. Appreciate you, Buglog. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look. What else is going on? Tyson taking a hit as of late. Let's go. Tyson's right on the bottom. Oof, this one has not been good. Definitely since especially the kind of the middle of the year. June, July, this fell off the tape. We'll look to see if this can bounce back up there, but definitely a weak tape there. And TSN, can it start coming back through 66? Coca-Cola, I'm mad at you. I found out about my Simply orange juice being not Simply, but we'll find out about that. There's a class action lawsuit for Simply orange juice on Coca-Cola. I talked about it on my Twitter, but let's keep going. Let's go to Tesla. Of course, Tesla's earnings going to be tonight. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what their earnings expectations are. Of course, you guys can do this simply with Benzinga Pro. Let's go to their earnings. Expected EPS is at $1.13. And then when we look at the estimated revenue is $24.03 billion on revenue and have beat on EPS. So keep your eyes on that. Tesla having a good day today, pushing up there to 144. We'll see what happens after the bell, right? 5:30 is the earnings conference call. 4 o'clock, we'll get those earnings. We'll see what happens. Can Tesla keep riding the wall and keep climbing right back after that big recent downturn? It went down there to 101, team. We're back at 144. Will we get to 150? What do you guys think? Good earnings report for Tesla or bad one? I'll let you guys talk about it in the chat. All right, let's go through. Let's keep going. Utilities in the red today. So if you're wondering what's lagging, what's not doing well, Next Era Energy, right? Next Era Energy definitely taking a hit there. This was off of earnings and continuing down, right at the bell. Got hit, bounced, got hit again. This is just to show me that I'm kind of a little upset that I kind of got rid of some of the swing trade short in the utility names as they are starting to crack. We'll see if these can continue to crack. Looking at some of these names, they are starting to go down. We'll look to see if they start breaking. All right, getting out of utilities, let's go to the industrials. Wanted to keep my eye on a name like Paccar and Deere, where these going to stay into the green, where they're going to continue pushing. You can see they're starting to climb back there. Cat pushing through almost to a new high. I know it just wicked to that high there. It went to 259.18s, trying to get back here on the daily, back towards the daily high from Tuesday, 260.50. Doesn't look too bad. Paccar is the one that gave us this insight. Let's see if we can keep the drive. Look at Paccar, man. We were looking at this stock back since November 8th in 2022. Now look where it is. November 8th. Where was that date? That was right here, team. Right here. That's when we started talking about Paccar. I have the line drawn. Why were we talking about Paccar? Because Cat was playing catch up to Deere on that November 8th. Where were we? We were right up here on Deere, and it was starting to get up to the high. So I'm going to put a little circle on that date too. That's right into this area when Cat was starting to show that breakout sign. Deere was already up there. I mean, by November 8th, it was already breaking out here. That was over here in this area. And we were looking for it to just continue. Leader, laggard style play. Paccar got good earnings. Pushed right back up through that 100. The good earnings pushed it up above these levels. Now up there to 110.97. Been a really nice move there in farm and heavy construction. All right, that's been probably one of the best areas that we kept a close eye on was the industrial trade. Hope that you guys were able to catch that right here on Stock Market Movers. It's 1:53, so we can go ahead and take a little bit of ticker time. If not, I will be wrapping up here. And of course, it's Wednesday today, so no roadmap. After this, we will have at the close at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys have a stock, throw it up now. If not, hold your peace. Hold your peace. All right. I do see some mentioned in the chat there. I see PLL. PLL. A little annoyed that I got stopped out yesterday in the action. It was a little bit of more chaos, right? Yesterday at the open. A big part of me wanted to be long lithium names. I talked about it. I talked about how PLL was one of my favorite monthly charts. Looking really nice, starting to push. Look at it now. This looks like a bullish engulfing candle to me on that PLL. LAC was the one that I had, and I had this one pretty low. I mean, I would be doing pretty good now. I had this one closer towards the 21. Now would be up about $1 on it. We'll see if these can keep running. I'm looking at MP to see if this starts getting its motor going, right? Will this start making its way back here? You can look at LTHM, right? That's not having a bad day there. SLM or SQM. I don't know why I say SL. SQM, you can take a look at an ALB, right? We'll take a look at these. They are strong right now. ALB was another one that I was looking at yesterday. Maybe take a shot. I didn't take my shot because of all the action that was going on. It was kind of a little bit frightening. But we're back up there to 266. We'll look to see if this one can keep going. Of course, this one gave pre-announcement yesterday, ALB. And PLL, come on. Let's see if it can keep going. Doesn't look too bad there. All right, I'll take a couple of stocks from you guys there. We love chicken. Me too. Eat more chicken. It's cheaper, right? All right, let's keep going. Let's do MGOL. I'll do it. I got no problem. I know that it's kind of one of these stocks that have just been getting hit, momentum stock, but let's go to the 15-minute. 15-minute, you guys can see how this is pulled back. Hasn't really changed trend. So what I do is at least on the hourly chart, look for this to change trend. What do I mean by changing trend? Look at the price action. Where do you get the sideways action, right? So you get sideways action here. Then it cuts right back down, right? Now you finally get some sideways action right over here. I look for it to climb some of these wall of worries, right? And so the first one here, I would put right towards where you just got the spike, 313, 310s. It needs to get through 310s, then get to 350s. If it starts getting up there to 350s, by then is when I'd start taking a look at it. I don't like to just try to call a bottom on a stock, especially if there's no price history. What do we mean by price history? Look to the left. This stock just opened. There's nothing to the left to call support. If there's nothing to the left to call support, what makes it stop at 3? What makes it stop at 2? The only thing that can make it stop is a 0 pricing. All right, Oracle or SoFi. I got you. I can do those. Let me just scroll up to see if I missed any other ones. Hoorah, chicken. MCLD, Mr. Higgles on Twitch. Got you, man. MCLD, 97-cent stock. I just look for the $1 pop, but that's just me. A lot of times when I'm looking at these companies that are just by $1, I'm just looking for them to get to $1, take the profits and run. But this one's not moving much. Too low volume for me to even make a mention. Not much there, man. Volume does not even trade 3,000 shares. I always look for at least 1 million shares traded. You can see on even a good day, this stock only trades 142,000 shares. That's when you can easily get manipulated. So I just try to stay out of trades like that. SoFi trying to make its way back there to $6. Remember when I started calling this one kind of a worry, and that was in the 14 area when we were starting to break down the pattern. And I didn't want to see people get trapped like I got trapped in my Genie trade, which I'm still in, by the way. I'm just holding the bag. It's going to be a long time on that bag on Genie. But we'll see what happens on trades like this. Can they actually start coming back? It's going to be more dependent on what happens in the industry. I don't think growth names are the trade for 23, even though you've gotten a nice little lift there. Overall, you've made a nice 20% move. 28, 30% move there in SoFi. I think eventually this comes right back down and you get more sideways action. Just be careful. All right, and that was SoFi. I'll do one last one. Larry Hill getting it, Oracle, and I appreciate you, Lisa Lee, making a comment there, going through these tickers. And I do this for you guys, right? Because I could easily just wrap up the show, get out of here. But I want to talk some stocks that you guys are looking at, right? All right, well, daily highs, trying to get through this level. Of course, if we can close through these levels to the left, we're looking good around the 89.21. Let's go to the highs there. That's 89.47, so maybe 89.50s. Get a close above 89.50s. You're looking good there in Oracle. You're starting to climb the wall of worry, making your way back up there. Dailies from this level, you're going to start pushing probably closer towards 91. We'll look to see if we can get back above that and start pushing back in Oracle. This actually doesn't look too bad, team. It's actually making up the climb pretty fast there. So if you're seeing Oracle do pretty well, right, you can take a look at some other names that are similar to Oracle and see how those can perform, right? Of course, you're talking software infrastructure. So take a look at names like that. You go into those high cap names. You're talking Microsoft, but look at Adobe. Maybe Adobe's the one that finally climbs and fills this shadow. I've talked about this shadow for a while now. I created this on October 26th. Would we come back? And when did we create this? When the stock was down here, team. This is why I think it's very important to kind of stick around with some of the things that I talk about. I can't always keep watch on what happens with these, but I thought we could come back and fill that gap eventually. What did we do? We came down and we came back up and really just started filling in the gap. This happens often, even on big gaps like Adobe. One of the biggest gaps that I've been looking to get filled is FedEx. Been talking about this one for a while. Will this one get filled to 200? It's still climbing the wall of worry and can easily do it. We'll see what happens. And Netflix was another monster kind of down gap that eventually got filled, right? Look at that big boy that eventually got filled. Trades like that, oh, those have been really great, team. Down gaps eventually filling into those shadow zone. We'll see what happens there. And Garrett saying the bear market's open, team. Bear market's open. All right, we'll see what else is going on. That's going to do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed all the action. Now reports tonight, wild action. Today, 15 off the lows, tend to react positively to the earnings. We'll see what happens. Now, let's take a look. Now, doesn't look too bad, right? We'll see if that can kind of get the lift there. Get back through the 450s. Sydney, we talked about FCX. If you'd like, rewind when we were talking about what was hot and what was not, just in case you somehow missed it. But I think you were just stating a new high there. Let's go. Let's take a quick peek before we get out. Yeah, look at that. Continuing the push there. Copper, SCCO. Maybe that makes the next lift. Gets back there towards the daily 77s. We'll see what happens there. All right, that's going to do it for me. Like always, you guys can keep up with all the action right here on Benzinga. At the close will be your next show, and that's at 3:30. Don't miss it. Joel Alcana and I go through all the stock market, what was making moves. You guys be there, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. We'll see if some of these trades can hold on. Will the wall still be climbing back, or did Microsoft break the January effect? Right now, the way that it was climbing back, it didn't seem like it. But, of course, everything can change in about an hour or so, especially about 2 hours. We'll see you guys on At the Close, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Benzinga.